大家好，欢迎收看联合国周报，我是主持人鲍嫣然。今天我们将聚焦一个全球热点——净零排放。相信很多人都曾经听到过这个词，但它到底意味着什么呢？让我们一起一探究竟。首先，我的同事 Pauline 将为大家解读净零排放的真正含义，以及联合国在实现这一目标的过程当中发挥了怎样的作用。
I know you see it every single time you try to book a flight. Net-Zero. Well, what does it really mean? To stop rising temperatures, we need to lower the amount of carbon we create. Or to put it very simply, net zero means cutting carbon emissions to a smaller amount that can be absorbed and stored by nature. So, the UN Net Zero Coalition considers different carbon removal measures to reach a point where we lower emissions to a zero in the atmosphere. Hence the buzz term, net zero. Transitioning to a net zero world is one of the greatest challenges we face. It calls for nothing less than a complete transformation of how we produce, we consume, and of course, how we live. Anyway, would you like to learn more about how the UN is helping? You can go to news.un.org and search net zero.
接下来 UN Weekly 主持人 Connor 将对话联合国经济与社会事务部全球经济监测处处长 Hamid Rashid， 从经济技术到政策实施方向分析世界经济形势与展望报告，带您了解全球能源转型的复杂性，以及如何才能更好地实现净零排放这一目标。
So-called resource curse. Now, that's what we mean by that is when we talk about countries that have these minerals, the raw minerals that power the earth. So traditionally it's been coal, oil. The people in those countries that have those materials don't necessarily benefit. It's all basically being used to power the developed economies, the rich countries. And you say that this could be one of the consequences of this energy transition. All the countries that have these minerals, those people will not benefit.
So this consequence is not inevitable, and this is what we are suggesting actually how to avoid that consequence. So if you read it, the report, we're basically making a case here that if countries can have the right policies in place, and many countries are actually putting the right policies in place to avoid the resource curse, because they're learning from past mistakes.
So what kind of things can they do then?
So there are, for example, you can have comprehensive industrial and innovation policies. For example, in the previous community cycles, many of the countries in Africa or Latin America, their goal was to get as much minerals out of the earth and export it as raw ores and minerals. But this model is not very sustainable because you don't get much value. A ton of copper ore doesn't give you a lot of money. But if you can turn into copper wares and copper other materials, you can have a lot more value addition. And that's what countries are trying to do with innovation policies, industrial policies. It's a sort of a large set of policies coming together. For example, you need to have the right fiscal framework to make sure you have the right incentives. Often it's very difficult for countries in Africa or Latin America to have manufacturing, right? You have to bring the technology, you have to bring the right investment, but countries are paying attention to this round. So we are more optimistic that this can be avoided with the right kind of strategic decisions that governments can make.
So would that mean, for example, rather than just digging the mineral out of the ground, you're actually creating the components for example, an electric car in that? And is that happening? Are you seeing that in developing economies?
Some countries are looking into at least first stage of value addition. For example, even if you go to the component, in between the component and the raw, the ore that you get from earth, there's many steps in between. Take the case of lithium. Lithium you find in either in a rock form as spodumene or in a salt flat in like Chile and some Argentine place. And you need a lot of purification. And most of the times what countries will do, they break down the rock and make it a concentrate of about 7% of lithium content. And that will be exported to China. For China to process it further, because you need lithium purity level of 99.9%. But that from say 7% to bringing it down to that that level of purity, there's a lot of processing involved. And some countries are now saying, look, we can do it better. Chile is trying to do, we do part of the processing there. African countries are not there yet in case of lithium, but they're trying to look at different options to have more value addition locally.
There are fears of a persistent demand-supply gap. So meaning that the supply of critical minerals, as you say, will lag despite this projected growth in potential demand. Now, does that mean that this energy transition that we want to see, this could be slowed down because we don't have enough minerals?
Yes, absolutely. It's sort of a, some ways it's sort of self-defeating because everyone is trying to bring, there's a lot of demand, anticipated demand that you want to have a lot more if you want to achieve net zero. Lithium production has to go up by 2.5-fold. Lithium carbonate production by 2030. This we have just 6 years left, right? 2.5 times. But technology is becoming also a hindrance because a lot of people are not willing to invest a lot of money into lithium processing if the technology shifts to something else. For example, there are, talking about sodium-ion batteries. Other technologies are also being considered. So that is why it's a paradox, because normally when there's a supply-demand gap, you would find prices to skyrocket. But in critical minerals, you're seeing the opposite trend right now. Prices are actually going in the opposite direction, especially for lithium, which is concerning. That means a lot of investments that need to come right now are not coming in because they're looking at the prices. They say, look, wait a minute, this price is not giving the right signal. So we believe this is where the global cooperation is to be stronger. We need to be serious about achieving our net zero target, and there's no other technology available right now. To put it bluntly, the point that you made, that the amount of critical minerals that we need in an EV car, we need to get dirty before we can get clean. So that's the window that we have, and we have to get it right. And we don't have a lot of time right now. And you're absolutely right. If we don't change the trajectory right now, we'll not be able to achieve the net zero target because there's no other viable technology available other than lithium-ion batteries right now. It may come in 10 years' time, but it'll be too late.
But not now.
Yeah.
如果您想了解更多世界经济形势与展望报告的内容，可以在视频下方的信息栏中找到相关的链接。感谢您的收看，我们下周再见。